Did you start already? Oh, hi. She said she started already, so I guess I'm starting right now. So we're starting our new lesson today. We're going to start working with groups of numbers in 5 and numbers in 10. Over the next couple lessons, we're going to need a special tool to do that. So I'm going to go through my normal stuff that you guys need out of your book for this first lesson, and then we're going to make a little arts and crafts. So this might be a little bit longer lesson, but it's just so I can help you guys with making something we're going to need for the next 3 lessons in a row. So out of our book for today, we're going to need page number 63. It looks like this. And it looks like you are also going to need a pencil for this one, for that part. Now, the arts and craft thing that we need to make is something that looks like this. And this is the thing that's called a 10 frame. For the lesson for today, we're just working within 5. So we're going to make a 10 frame, and then we're going to fold it in half. And then the 10 frame is going to come into play the next lesson and the lesson after this one. So for today, we're just working with numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 on the frame. So what I did is I got a piece of paper here, and I got a marker and I got a ruler. If you don't have a ruler, it's no big deal. You can actually just use the edge of your book to make this, and you can make it with a pen, whatever you want. Essentially what we're doing is we're just making a grid that has 10 boxes on it. We're going to put things in these boxes, so you just want to make it a little bit bigger than whatever kind of counter you're using at home. I have these little foam discs here, so this is kind of what I use for my counters. So this is kind of the size that I go for my grid, because you end up putting counters into each little box. It's called a 10 frame because there's 10 boxes in it. And essentially we're going to use this eventually for like adding and stuff like that. Right now we just use it for counting. So the way I'm going to do it, I'm just going to make 3 lines. They don't need to be perfect, they just need to be 10 of them. That's your big rule for this one. So this is if you don't have something like this just sitting around your house. We were going to send them home with some of the math groups, but we just didn't. So if you don't have one, you can make one real fast. It's got 10 boxes in it. And then for today's lesson, we're going to just pretend that half of it doesn't exist. So once you have this part, you can just fold it over, and for today we're just going to do 5 and then plus some more. So that's what we're going to be looking at. So that's your arts and crafts part of this. And then I'll be right back with the actual lesson. I got to get some stuff prepared. So once you just go ahead and make this part so that we can talk about the numbers. All right, I got all my stuff ready. We're going to talk a little bit about this 5 frame thing that we have put together. This is called a 5 frame because it has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces in it. We keep it here because once we fill this thing up, we know that we have 5 things. That's why we call it a 5 frame. We can put 5 things in it real easy. We can just be like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I ran out of boxes. I know that this is called a 5 frame. It's always called a 5 frame. Once you fill this thing up, you can just look at it and be like, oh my gosh, it's full. There's no more spaces. It's got to be 5 things, right? It can also help us figure out bigger numbers. And to help us do that, I'm just going to explore some numbers and what they look like in the 5 frame. And to help me with that, I pulled out my little ice creams. I've got little ice creams. They've got little numbers on them. I'm going to pick them at random, and we're going to talk about what they look like on my 5 frame. Okay. Bam. On my little lollipop today, I pulled out a number 4. I know this is a number 4 because I've been looking at what the numbers look like. So when this pops up right here, I can just kind of stare at it, be like, whoa, that's a 4. So how this would look on my 5 frame is I would take my little counters. I have these foam counters. You can use little pennies, you can use nickels, you can use whatever you want as long as they're all kind of the same thing. You just want little things that are all the same. I happen to have these little foam guys, so this is what I use. I want to show 4, so I'm going to count those out. 1, 2, 3, 4. So I didn't get to fill it all the way up, but I did put 4 things on here. I know that in my 5 frame here, I have 4 counters in here. From there, I can kind of start thinking about some other numbers that I can compare it to. This thing is called a 5 frame, so just looking at it right now, I can start thinking, well, is this a bigger number than 5? Or is it less than 5? Is it greater than 5, which is bigger, or is it less than 5, which would be less things than 5? I can see right now that this is less than 5 because there's an empty space right here. If this was filled up, then I'd have 5 things. I know right now that I don't have 5 things. This is a number that is less than 5. And I can even talk about it if I'm telling a story to somebody else. This number 4 is less than 5, and I can even tell you right now how many it is less because I can count the empty boxes. So come right on up here real quick. So I'm looking at this. I've got 4 dots, and if I want to say how many less than 4, or how many less than 5 4 is, I'll just look at these boxes. 4 is less than 5 by 1 number because I'm missing 1 thing right here. Let's look at another number. 2. I'm going to use my little chocolate lollipop here. I'm going to do 2 things. I'm going to use my 5 frame to go ahead and put on 2. 1, 2. So now I know I have 2 on here. I can tell right away this is less than 5 because if it was 5 or more than 5, this would be all the way full. Right now I'm less than 5, and I can tell you exactly how many less than 5 I am just by counting my empty boxes. So I can go 1, 2, 3. I am missing 3 out of 5. So 2 is less than 5 by 3. You can just say that it's smaller, and you can tell us exactly how much smaller it is. So now we've done 4, we've done 2. That's how smaller numbers work using our little 5 strip. But what about the bigger numbers? What if we get something like 9? Here I've got 9. This is how we talk about how numbers are bigger than 5. So we're going to take 9 things and we're going to fill up our little thing here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't stop there because we're looking at this number right here, which is 9. I've got 5, but I've got to keep pulling them out. 6, 7, 8, 9. So there's my 9 on my 5 strip. I now know that I have at least 5 things because this is all the way full. But how many more than 5 do I have? Well, that would be all the things that didn't find a home. These guys right here. So I could say that 9 is greater than 5. Greater is another way of saying bigger than 5 or more stuff. So I could say it's greater, but I can also tell the story of how much greater because it's all these little dots that didn't find a home. So I could say 9 is greater than 5, and then I'll count these to tell you by exactly how much. 1, 2, 3, 4. 9 is greater than 5 by 4 whole numbers. So that's how we use our little 5 strip. That's what we're going to do with your numbers tonight on your homework or today on your homework. You're going to use your little strip like this. We're going to get out page 63. It's got a little duck on it. I think I might have forgot to tell you guys what page we're doing today. And then on the first part of this, you are going to draw the dots that match the numerals. So you're going to have to know what these numbers are. So you're going to have to be able to look at them and say, I know this is a blank. I know this is a blank. I know that because I've been looking at those numbers. And then what I want you to do is take your pen or pencil and you're going to pretend that you're drawing little dots in here, okay? You should be able to only fill up 5 in these little squares, and then you got to put your extra ones over here. So what they did on this first one is they said, this is the number 6. So I'm going to draw 6 circles. So they went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I want you guys to go ahead and do that one. They put 6 circles there so we can tell how many extra ones there are after we get to 5. Over here, you're going to need to know what this number is, and then I want you to draw the circles here. Anything more than 5 is going to go in this blank space on that one. For this one on the bottom, I need you guys to count these little circles, and then I want you to think about what the numbers look like once you count them. So on this first one, I want you to look at these little red circles, orange circles I mean, and count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. We know that this is less than 5 because there's still a big blank X right, or box right here. But we also know what 4 looks like because I just showed it to you on our lollipop. Pull out your little numbers if you need to. This is what a 4 looks like. You're gonna be writing number 4 right in there. And then when you're done with that, I want you to come over to this one right here and count all these and figure out what this whole box is showing you with these little circles, okay? Count the ones that are in here and keep counting. Keep going with your counting and count these too. Even if they don't have a home for the box, I want you to count every single circle, and that'll tell you the number to write down here. So that's your work for today. Good working on those 5 strips. Start thinking about how many go into those 5 strips, and then start thinking about what these little extra ones are outside. Tomorrow we're gonna work on 10 strips, a little bit bigger. So we'll see you then. We'll see you for the next next assignment then.